Welcome to the Disney Hour Express podcast. I'm Abby.
And I'm Rob. We are two hopelessly romantic Disney enthusiasts,
Sharing fun stories, secret tips, and family travel experiences.
If you are a Disney newbie, or maybe a season pass holder, we hope you find this information helpful.
We turned our love of Disney into a unique boutique travel agency that books Disney and Universal vacations.
We've got a lot of stories, so cozy on up, choose your favorite drink,
Whether that be a cocktail or a hot chocolate,
and enjoy the Disney Hour Express.
Welcome to episode 86 of the Disney Hour Express. We are here today to get you into the spooky mood. Ooh.
I mean, if you weren't already in it from last week when you heard all about
Mickey's Not So Scary, which
Mickey's
was
Not So
not
Scary.
super spooky.
Except for Space Mountain in the Dark.
Okay, that was wildly scary. Like, I saw recently a picture of us on it, and we were trying to be all cute and like pointing the camera. Not only am I pointing the wrong way, but I'm just like scared as all living daylights could be. It was ridiculous.
Fair enough. I understand. I get it.
But really, in actuality, we're going to talk about our friends over at Universal Studios Orlando, their Halloween Horror Nights 2024, also known as HHN 33. Why?
33 years.
Because they've been rocking it since 1991, having their Halloween Horror Nights annually. So 33 years. And they are running for 48 nights this year. So we're going to dive into the screams, the thrills, and the chills of HHN.
Somebody did some writing for this intro.
I did some writing. I was like, I gotta rock it out a little bit. I've been the one that's having to take over all the chit-chattery.
The chit-chattery?
Yeah, can you take over some chit-chattery for me?
The chat-chittery?
Nah, no. These events, they're really great because they showcase the popular, like the horror franchise, I should say. And it's a lot of nostalgia mixed with new age horror, which makes all ages want to go to this, really. I mean, and by all ages, I mean 18 to up. Maybe more high school too, huh?
18 up.
It can get super scary if you let your mind take you away, which I have a tendency to do when going to these haunted hay rides and stuff.
Can
and
confirm. All
sorts of things. But if you're a horror fan or a thrill seeker, this is definitely one of the ones that they suggest you hit up. Anyways, this year is supposed to be bigger and scarier, more intense than ever before. I did not get to attend, unfortunately, but I did watch a really amazing run through. So to help me through this awesome episode, I've got some classy apple cider from our local apple facility. It's actually like, what is it? Sparkling apple cider or something like that. And I added a little kick to it. What do you got over there?
What do I have? Well, we're not promoting this, but I have a Two Roads, which is a local brewery. Rosemary's Spawn.
Ooh.
It's a pumpkin maple pecan ale.
Now, you've had these before. Do you like them?
I do, and this is a new one because they usually just have because I forget it's something rosemary. This is a newer one. I never had this one before, but it's good. Because
all right, it's got a different flavoring in it than I remember in the past. But anyways,
Two Roads. Anyways,
back
that's
to
what we're trying to
33. We're
trying to get into the Halloween spirit, and we've done that as Abby started decorating our house already.
I did, and it's a process. I have to take the bins out. I mean, there are bins that I have to get going. I'm trying to convince Rob to clear out some land so I can put up a little bit more Halloween decorations on the exterior.
She wants me to clear out our woods.
Not all of the woods, just a little.
Just a few trees. No worries.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
All's good. Anyways, back to HHN 33, our classic horror. I want to give a little shout out to Attractions 360 over on YouTube. They gave some really detailed footage of the houses, and I felt like I was walking through them. And some of the things that I experienced walking through it with the Attractions 360 was like, they must have gone at a time when it was really not crowded, because the timing of the jump scares were like really repetitive. So it's like they were still in the house, still at the same moment when they were doing a jump scare for the second time, or doing
so it was like so slow
clip.
Moving through.
Yeah, but even though it was like there was nobody in front of them, stuff, they were just going slower for the footage. So their footage was fantastic. But I was like, oh, maybe they need to like slow down. I wonder if the actors have an option to slow down their jump scares and real tracks and everything they go on. Probably not. It probably makes it too complicated, but anyways, there are 10 new houses out this year, right?
A whole 10.
A whole 10. Now, when I say houses, like it's like you are going into a scene, like for real. Like you can't see any of Universal Studios when you go into these houses. You are truly and fully immersed into the experience.
And these all take like months to put up, right? This isn't just something that they put up in a couple weeks. If
you're going just to Universal Studios and you see the exterior of this, you might find it kind of annoying if you're not into HHN, because it blocks certain rides. Like I think we discussed how it took over the Fast and the Furious, and a couple of other places. It blocks a lot of things, so you're not exactly getting the Universal experience feel. You're getting
rightfully so. There should be. The reason why they're doing it and why Disney does it too is because what's the appeal of going to Disney right now? The majority of most people just started school, unless you're in one of those really cool hip areas where they have like, trimesters and things like that. But so what are you going down? Why would you go to Disney? Why are you going to Florida to a theme park in September? Well, maybe because the appeal of Halloween. So that's what they're trying to get you into the parks. And so they do it up. And especially Universal's been doing it for 33 years.
Yep, exactly. And they've been really successful and gotten bigger every year. So this is really in no particular order. I didn't even rate them. I mean, we have one that we've heard has been the best and to me looked to be the scariest, but we're not even going to start with that one. So no particular order. We'll start with the museum deadly exhibits. Ooh. So everything is deadly. Possessed in the museum, and I find this like to be a really fun one as a museum goer. I mean, how often have you thought, my little museum nerds out there like me, or gotten like a creepy vibe from historic artifacts, right? There's always stories about people going to tag sales and getting like, let's say, an antique mirror, an antique doll, and whoever the previous owners of these things, that their souls or whatever, what do you call it? Like their souls are within the items that you're purchasing, right? And bringing home. So imagine this with like museum artifacts. Like they were owned by someone at some point or made by someone at some point. And so you could always imagine that they're like possessed, and like it's really definitely creepy. Holy cow experience. Like I would be creeped out going to this one.
I mean, you'd be creeped out just walking into Universal.
I don't know. I'm not sure. There were some of them that I wasn't so impressed.
Okay.
So another one like this next one I'm going to mention, I was like, I don't know about this one. It's called Goblin's Feast. It is what it sounds like. It's a bunch of goblins. So props to Universal dressing up a whole bunch of people like goblins. Kind of cool. They're cooking up some human flesh and being angry about it with some Irish tunes on in the background. That's pretty much what I got from this house. There's some good scenery. Once you go further into it, you're like immersed into kind of this Irish scenery a little bit. Think stone walls and like those journey water things,
very Celtic and all that.
So it's cool to see, but
I heard this one's gory.
I guess it can be because like they are eating humans, right? So they've got like, you know, like here and there, but
here and there and everywhere.
In actuality, are you really scared of goblins eating you?
I mean, I'm scared. Goblins are creepy.
Yeah. All right.
If they were like small goblins, the big goblins.
They weren't. They were big. They were pretty
I want
normal sized
goblins.
people goblins.
I demand tiny goblins.
And then we've got Major Sweets Candy Factory. This one made me laugh because it starts off like you would think, right? Too much candy is never a good thing. We were just discussing this with the kids today.
Yes.
Like, it makes you crazy, right? So this, when you're like first walking into it, that's kind of like it, right? You've got like some sort of crazy girl like jumping out at you because she's got candy on her face. And then you keep on going further and you've got like a kid that is like covered caramel, I would say, but maybe it's just vomit like all over them.
Yeah.
I don't really know. And so then as you keep going further, I mean, it's people hooked up to candy machines being forced to eat candy and like things like that. So it definitely gives you a new perspective of enjoying candy.
So what you're saying is we should probably bring the kids to this.
Absolutely not.
Well, maybe it'll get them to get rid of their sweet teeth.
Sweet tooth. Yeah,
Sweet
actually,
teeth.
you know, maybe. I mean, there were some chains and murdery scenes. So,
well, you know what? It's better than having to go to the dentist.
We're
kind of similar. Okay.
True. All right. And then another house, we've got triplets of terror. So you're invited to the Berry triplets birthday celebration. You open up to the house where when you're walking onto the front porch, this like made me totally laugh because I've absolutely been to a house like this where you're walking up to the front porch and it's just cluttered, like completely, like 3 different strewn chairs on top, like newspapers, like everything. Just imagine like piled in like different piles on the front porch, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be interesting. And like I've been on a front porch like that. I don't know if you have, but it's like you're like, okay.
I haven't.
You walk into their front living room, and of course they're having a birthday party. And it looks like perhaps it's their parents that are beheaded, but I think it's like throughout the whole house, like different family members are being murdered.
What they did is it's the lore, I guess they're called the Barmy triplets, and they murdered their family. So they back when they were 9.
Oh.
And so then
now is this a true story or just like this is the
lore.
story?
This is like an original house. This is one of the original.
Interesting. So it's not a new one.
Yeah, it's original. It's new, but it's an original. Universal Studios, you know, like they've come up with this.
Gotcha.
Lore.
Okay.
And so like they murdered their parents or family. And then they're just every year on the anniversary of their birthday, they reenact the murders
with new members,
people,
just new people, not necessarily family.
The people unexpectedly walking into their house for no reason.
Good heavens, that's crazy. Like there was a lot of circular saws being used, kitchen knives, baseball bats. It was pretty nutty.
It's another one where they said it's not for sensitive stomachs. They said lots of things.
I would also say that. But again, like from what I was watching, like those scare jumps and stuff were happening over and over and over again. So by the third time you saw the same jump, you were kind of like, all right, buddy.
Yeah.
And you start to feel bad for the actors doing it. Like, oh, this is what you do. They just have to keep doing it. For how many hours?
Yeah.
Ugh. I know we talked so in depth about it last year. We did some background research on interviews of some of the scare actors and some of the injuries that they get from doing repetitive scenes like this, right? And then sometimes people like jump at them, like they get so scared that they have those impulses and they'll hit or whatever. Now, I did find it interesting that they did have assistants throughout the houses, which is pretty smart. Like as in like they're not in costume, they're in like a typical like universal uniform, standing there at the ready for guests or actors.
Gotcha.
So it was cool. All right, so now we've got Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Yeah,
I took the most interest in this one probably because I've seen the Ghostbusters franchise. So in this story, it's Goraka, the evil god, tries to use his ice powers to destroy the world. So they have, like, in some of the rooms, they have itty bitty Stay Puft marshmallow men, and they're causing complete havoc, as they do. And you'll see Zool and Slimer and the library ghost. However, like, I have to just say the library ghost is just kind of like an image on a screen. It's not like, it's not even like a cool smoke and mirrors kind of thing. But it's there.
Right.
You know, you see a lot of use of electrified proton packs and throughout. So my side note, my takeaway, it was pretty cool. I was disappointed with the Slimer costume because they really tried to bring him to life, right? So imagine, like, I had like a desk in front of me and I had like the garbage, because that's what Slimer, he like eats crap. And so it was a what? Okay. And it was like, you know, like a normal height person wearing like the Slimer.
Yeah.
But, and
so you can only see it like their top half has the Slimer on it.
Yes. And then, but you could see their legs. They're like wearing like sweatpants, like, but like in a green color. Okay. But I'm like, whoa, come on. We could do so much better than that. Like a skirt table or something that like covers up the hole around. So it looks like Slimers are, but maybe it's like, that's like a movement thing. But I was like, buddy, what? You just like defied Slimer for me. Like, I'm not okay with that.
Interesting.
Anyways, so that was my little takeaway from that.
So they're saying this one's not as scary.
No, it's really not. More about themed well.
Yeah, they say it's more about the set design that they use in the house is more. Yeah.
So it was definitely a nostalgic thing for sure. So then we've got Slaughter Cinema 2. I'm going to say I was a little confused about this one because there were so many different segments in the house. It was like you saw the poster for the movie that you were walking into, and like that's how it was set up, because there was multiple, let's say, movies, multiple cinema scenes. So, but it was a little confusing because you don't necessarily know the story, the backdrop of each movie that's going. I know that they had like a Santa Claus and a Mrs. Claus turn into cannibals.
Okay.
They had like a Jaws kind of scene, but they didn't quite get it.
Gotcha.
It was like you're going into underneath the sea. So think of like Nemo things like hanging down and stuff, and then like a woman in her bathing suit like putting out her arm being like, oh, but like and then like a little Jaws electronic head coming forward. But it was kind of like, okay, all right, neat. So again, this is just me like watching and experiencing through somebody else. Maybe it's more scary when you're in person. Did you read that it was kind of a scary experience or no?
I did. The one review I read on this said it was filled with wow moments.
Okay.
And that's what they said. But they also gave a tip of said prepare to get wet.
It says I didn't see a wet scene in the Jaws scene, so that's interesting.
They said, and that was it said prepared to get wet in the first film, Mardi Gras Murders.
Mardi Gras Murders.
Yeah, that's where you're getting wet. So you don't know what you're getting wet from.
Ew.
Yeah.
Okay. Just a little blood splatter here and there.
Gotcha.
All right. So we have The Quiet Place, or A Quiet Place, I should say.
Yeah.
Love this movie. Love the two movies. They're very fun.
You like the three movies.
The three movies. You're right.
Like
it's been so long. The second one kind of faded for me.
The second one might as well be a movie that doesn't exist.
This is the one where she gives birth inside like a pod.
That's the first one.
She didn't give birth in the first one.
She did. They did, because they have the baby in the little box floating. Okay. Yeah, because they're trying to keep him quiet.
You're right. Okay. Yeah. So, Got it. So I think that they're called death angels, the monsters that eat everybody when they make noise.
Yeah,
It's
I
kind
never
of
knew
like
that
they don't really have a official name. I think they just like show a newspaper clipping in one of the movies and they're called death angels. So you go from room to room. There's lots of flashing lights, different triggering sounds like the crying baby. But overall, it wasn't like too scary. I would think, and when I heard that they were doing this one, like how hard to make it scary, right? Because you're shuffling your feet, you're being really loud, like, so they have to make the noises louder than the bodies going through it. So again, like the triggering noises were like super loud in this house. Even like air blowing was going to be super loud because they're trying to just make it seem like you're deaf.
So this was the one that I actually watched. The video. Abby watched them all. I watched this one, and I was kind of like, the monsters themselves were just kind of like upper torsos of the monsters, like sticking out of a wall.
Yes.
It would be sort of like you'd be looking into darkness, like there'd be like a hole in the wall, darkness, and then it would light up and you would see the monster.
Yes.
It just didn't really. It seemed kind of lame to me. Sure. As you're walking through, and again, because it's Halloween Horror Nights, and there's so many people going through it. Like you're the person that's in front of you, whether you know them or not, is like right in front of you. So it's like a steady stream of people.
Yeah, walking on through.
Yeah, so you don't know if you're getting the scare or if you're just gonna you're hearing it, and then now it's not like when we went to the haunted house, haunted, and like we were all by ourselves. There's no one, like within 30 feet of us either way. So we don't know what's going on or what's next.
Yes, right.
And so I don't know. What did creep me out in this was, I think they had like a young girl doing like, I don't know if she was faking sign language, because it's supposed to be like one of that the daughter is she's deaf and mute. And like, so that seemed creepy to me more than, and then they had like an old guy just kind of like staring.
Yeah.
Like that was creepy more than like the monsters.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Now the monsters, I have to say, I get so confused about the monsters between Stranger Things, these death angels, and what was that other movie that was a video game and then went
with TV?
Went to a TV show that we watched. It had the Ellie.
Oh man, I'm drawing a blank now.
I know.
It was on HBO. It was on Max.
Yes. Anyways,
it'll come to me.
All three of these shows have a really similar monster character, right?
Somewhat. Somewhat. I'll go along with that. Sure.
Yeah, well, especially Stranger Things and the Death Angels. Like, they are very similar. And I'm kind of like, didn't they have a Stranger Things last year? Are we just like reusing character stuff? Because some of it just looks more Stranger Things than it does A Quiet Place. So
it could be.
I thought that was interesting. Now, the next one we've got is Insidious The Further. Okay. So this is where souls are stuck for eternity, right? They don't go to heaven or hell. They're just stuck in the middle. The storyline is Keyface uses his key-shaped fingertips to unlock human souls inside the Further. This one totally creeped me out. Okay. Even from the video. Right. Now, there were jump scares everywhere and masked creepers, and like you just didn't know what was coming at you. Yeah. At one point, you're walking through an incredibly scary basement looking area, and the lights flicker on and off, and you're just being like intruded continuously over and over again. Like you think that there's like statues everywhere, but like real people are mixed in with the statues, real actors that are kind of like, this would be like my heart. I would get like huge,
and that's what I've heard. This one is, from what everything I've seen, everyone says is the best. Also has the longest wait time. It seems to be the scariest one. Yeah, they say that the areas that the actors jump out from, that are that are available, they're called them boo holes, is what they refer to them as. Yes. They remind you to go wherever you want with that one.
Boo hole.
Boo holes. So they say that there's 3 boo holes to every 1 actor. So each actor has a choice of one of 3 spots that they could jump out and scare you.
Okay.
Which I think adds to, as opposed to just having
one that you keep going back and forth.
Yeah.
Now that's only inside of this house?
That's what they say in this one, yes.
Okay, that's probably what makes it so different. And you can feel it, like even from the footage. I felt it. It was crazy. Yeah.
And have you seen I don't believe you've seen these movies. This is based on a series of films, the Insidious films. I think there's 5 of them now. I've only seen the first 2. The first one has a very creepy they use the song Tiny Tim's Tiptoeing Through the Tulips. It's a very creepy song. Tiny Tim himself is a creepy looking person. I don't know if you're familiar with him. I'm imagining
like a wind up Jack in the Box kind of song.
No, well, yeah, it kind of sounds. He's like tiptoeing through the tulips, through the tulips. It's like this high pitched guy, and he looks creepy.
Okay.
We could have a whole episode on Tiny Tim. But anyway, they use that, and there's this scene in the first movie where it's just like you're in the middle, it's in daylight, right? And it's these people have been like chased from their house, and they leave the house and they go to another they like rent another apartment, or I think it's another house, and it's like just showing like the father just going to get his garbage, and he brings the garbage out and he comes back in, and like as he comes back in, like it's just following through the house, and you just see there's just like this random kid just like standing like in between the coats, like in the closet, and it just freaks you out. Like you're like, what was that? Like it was just like this.
No.
So it's kind of like that was that type of movie.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think they're playing up on.
Oh my
God. I haven't seen it. I like this key face. I don't remember this character at all. So this must have been, I know one of them is called like The Last Key and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, Insidious.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe I'll have to watch them this October.
Maybe. All right. So Universal Monsters, Eternal Bloodlines is the next house. So lots of mummies and tomb scenes. In this house, you'll encounter classic creatures like Dracula, the Wolfman, and Frankenstein's monster in a gothic nightmare.
I mean, it's right. They have to use their properties, you know.
They do, but it's not scary. It's more of a story, right? I didn't find it scary. There are some potentially scary.
Saskia Van Helsing, the daughter of Abraham Van Helsing, the famed vampire hunter. That's who's supposed to be.
Yes, she is in it, and she's definitely coming out at points and
it has talking to you. Yeah, the Dracula's daughter, Countess Maria.
Yep, we see
risen
her a
from
few
the
times.
dead to avenge her father and destroy the vampire hunter bloodline for good. To do so, the Countess forges an alliance with She-Wolf and Anck-su-namun from the Mummy movies.
There's definitely a lot of female power here, for sure.
There we go.
But, you know, again, it's a story. It's entertainment. And so it's not that it's bad. I just didn't think it was scary.
Gotcha. Because basically what Abby's saying is women aren't scary. All right.
Oh, you stop. You stop. So then the last house we're going to review on out of the 10 is The Monstrous, The Monsters of Latin America.
Or is it Monstros?
Monstros. You were right.
Yeah.
The story of this house is El Muerte guides you through a graveyard of mythic monsters, including the soul-stealing writer El Charro. So the scene, it actually started off, I thought it was going in a totally different direction. Okay. I'm going to be honest. Like, it starts off with like a woman kind of in an alleyway coughing up blood. And I was like, ooh, this is going to be so interesting. Yeah. And then it just kind of like didn't follow that storyline at all. You've got someone eating babies. Now, maybe she wasn't, she did have a carriage that was full of blood, but it looks like she's coughing up the blood. However, maybe the blood stains are supposed to be from the baby, because then the next scene you have people eating babies, and there's workshops full of body parts and entrails everywhere. So it's definitely gore here.
Is it? Did they also include Fat Bastard from the Austin Powers films who wanted to eat Mini-Me?
Perhaps.
Maybe.
Perhaps
Okay.
he's in there somewhere.
All right.
So, I mean, overall, like, I love it. I love the writing of it and the theming of it. I do, and maybe they do, but I wish that they handed out like a booklet almost for like nerds like me that you can like know exactly what you're going into. Like, I like to know the pre-stories, and some of them you do, like A Quiet Place, you see the movie. So I guess that's really what it is.
So
that
you
you'd have to like
bit more of the
pre-watch
lore.
all this stuff because I want to know what I'm going into. Otherwise, I'm gonna miss this. What's supposed to be scary? To be honest, I'm gonna be like, oh, okay. I want to know a little bit more about what's happening. So
and I think it's always. Like, if you're just looking for scares, I think the scariest part is when it's just actual people trying to scare you, right? Because that's
gosh, yes.
As opposed to just like a set piece, like a monster sticking on a wall or something. So I think whenever you have more of that, that's the scarier you're going to be. But again, just being that, because it's Halloween Horror Nights and there's so many people there and the lines get so long that it's a continuous flow of people. So you kind of don't feel that. Where like you feel like you're alone or isolated,
you don't feel
or
like
nervous.
you could just
like
magically disappear and nobody would notice.
Yeah,
that was my fear when we were going through our like wooded tour. Like, I'm like, they could really murder us, and nobody would notice. They just think it was part of the scene when they were walking by.
That is true.
So they also have scare zones that you kind of hang out through, or some of them I think you even can ride trams through, which are interesting. They have terrifying creatures that are ready to jump out at you. So one of the scare zones is called Swamp of the Undead, where you wade through cursed bayou filled waters with vengeful spirits and mutated bodies. Now I was kind of like, is this like a Tiana's Bayou gone wrong?
I mean, it seems that way.
Like completely wrong. You've got Enter the Blumhouse. So this is all the Blumhouse characters, like the sinister sadists from The Purge, which I really like the Purge movies, which I don't know what kind of person that makes me.
No, but I think a lot of people did because they keep making them.
Yeah, so. They're pretty sick. But I would find it so interesting to see what they did with that. And then they have, of course, Black Phone, which I did not enjoy. I'm not into the kid part. Yes. It's just that when kids are put in like dangerous situations, like I can't deal. And then of course they had Megan. Dancing around.
Dancing Megan.
This is the one where you can go on the tram and I think you're taking a ride around for a little bit.
Okay. But you're going to see all the Blum people. They have other people, if you've seen like Happy Death Day and other movies that are under the Blum umbrella. Which we might know someone to do, but we're not going to say anything. We might know someone that might have something going on with Blum. We're not going to say anything more.
Top secret.
But yeah, there's a lot of different, and yeah, there's a lot of creep. The Black Phone. If you've ever seen that mask, that's a very
it's a creepy
scary
mask, man.
But then they say that there's also, it's not so much just the villains in this scare zone. You could also find the heroes of these. Like walking around, like the
they're
kids,
saving the day.
The kids that take Black Phone, that are the heroes in Black Phone. You could see them walking around and stuff. Okay.
We've got Duality of Fear. You can choose the path between sinister or surreal for your horror experience, right? And then you've got Demon Queen for merciless queens loyal to surreal rules, surrounded by hordes of fanatical followers.
Yeah.
And then Torture Fair. Now, this one, I was like, oh, this could just be a real thing. It's like the sinister Renaissance fair full of medieval, tortures. So that could really happen. I could see that happening at a Renaissance fair for sure.
All right. Fair enough.
Anyway, so those are the scare zones we've got going on. They do have other live entertainment. They have something called Nightmare Fuel Nocturnal Circus. It's the twisted circus with evil clowns, freakish performers, and a general sense of madness. I bet this is so cool. I bet it's like the back walkover people, like going back bends, walking on their hands and feet, and like all sorts of crazy you know, like nutty.
Yeah.
I can see it already. And then on select evenings, you'll get to see the Death Eaters out and about. Of course, this would be over if you were going on the rides in the Harry Potter area. You'd see them over there. And in general sense, there's going to be all sorts of different things all around.
And now if you're looking for that doesn't last the entirety of...
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Just on select nights, right? And so you just don't know.
And it ends before Halloween Horror Nights ends. Like, so you can't see them. So if you're you want to see Death Eaters, go early.
Yes, absolutely. So tips and tricks. Absolutely arrive early. The most popular houses can have some seriously long lines. I'm talking about 2 hours. Yeah. Like you're just waiting at one house.
Expect that for Insidious, because that seems to be the one.
Even people that have specialty passes and stuff, if you're going there on, I don't know what it's called, like not the DAS pass, but like on other passes, like you're still about 45-minute waits.
Okay.
So consider spending the extra money if this is like your thing. If you're just going to this once, consider getting those express passes, right? Because you'd be in a whole different line. Like you just you want to do that.
You could save hours on your day and night.
Well, and you could potentially get to the houses, right? You're going to this and paying a lot of money. You want to make sure that you see what you came for. You definitely, I mean, like any theme park, comfy shoes are an absolute must. I know that some people are like dressing up. They want to look cute. But yeah, let's put on some sneaks, folks.
Yeah, you're doing some walking.
You got to mentally prepare for the scares. You don't want to get kicked out at the first house because you punched someone in the face by accident. Keep those hands down by your side.
Yeah.
Be prepared to have people jump right in your face. Okay.
It's easy to get lost in it. But you got to remember that even the people scaring you are people.
Yes, they are. And it's a twisty, every house is kind of twists and turns. Okay. So it's like they make them like mazes for a reason because they want to disorient you. Being disoriented makes you more scared. You don't know exactly where you are or what you're doing. So
they should just follow me around driving, because when I don't have my Waze on.
Even when you do, darling. Even when you do.
Like, wait a minute, where am I right now?
Yeah, many times I'm like, you turn left here.
Yesterday, I had to go somewhere for a trade show for my work.
Yes.
And I went down, and it brought me to an area where there was just nothing. Waze had no mapping. Yeah, it had no mapping. So I was just like... what?
Oh no.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you feel like you were in a haunted movie?
Well, something, because it was about to be haunted, because I had to go to the bathroom.
That's right, you did tell me that.
Shouldn't have got that large coffee. Anyway.
You absolutely need to make a plan for getting exclusive merch, right? Because those lines can be a little bit long, but in between waiting for houses and whatnot, there's exclusive merch that's brought out only during these events. So you're going to want to look it up, look at the reviews, see what you want to get, make a plan, make that plan. So they've got awesome themed food, things like blood-soaked burgers or ghostly churros. Definitely make a plan to partake in those. Yum yum.
And I've been looking at a couple of them, and like some things of note is over in the Ghostbusters area, they have a mini Stay Puft S'more.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I know. Have you seen the pic? Have you seen it before?
I haven't seen it at all. If I can get you. But here, I can bring it. Oh yes, I did see it. You know what's so funny is I didn't even it didn't really register to me, but now that I'm looking at it, I can totally see it.
They said it's pretty simple.
They don't have the hat, right? Isn't his hat blue?
Well, it's not. I mean, they didn't color it.
Well, they should have.
It's a marshmallow.
It's very, very cute. I would enjoy that.
Little mini Stay Puft marshmallow s'mores. So things like that. A lot of it, the reviews were they're like, this isn't good.
Really?
Yeah, they were saying
last
a lot
year's
of things
were really
but
good.
There's stuff like they're serving like corn chowder.
Yeah,
which is
they're like the heat.
They're like it's mostly water and it doesn't it tastes with a hint of corn. There's like a walking street taco it was a vegan walking street taco that they said was pretty good but spicy. There's a summer camp dog over in the Slaughter Cinema that they said was very good. Yeah, I mean, they're everywhere. They also said, these lines can get long as well.
Yes.
Especially for the food, like the themed
food, yes.
They said you have to make a decision. Are you there to like enjoy all of your time?
Yes.
Or you just want to get into the houses? So you might want to eat beforehand or make a plan and then go there to get scared.
Like I said, I looked at all the food options when I went to Mickey's Not So Scary because I was like, I had like a slight plan, like, hey, these are the 2 items that like I'd like to get. But I'm telling you, seeing somebody else enjoy them like from afar, like made me feel just as good because I didn't want to. I'm not a person to track down food. I would not be a good writer for the Disney food blog. but I can't tell you about it, right? Okay. And what's in it, but I'm not necessarily going to be the one that's like tracking it down and oohing and awing over it.
You wouldn't want that
watery
Stay Puft S'more.
I'm not going to go, like, I would love it if we like had it and split it or something, but I wouldn't like wait in an hour line for it. Like I'm not that crazy.
I find this funny. So the Triplets of Terror area, they have like a food truck. And what their drinks, the beverages they're serving, are all done by a brewery called Three Daughters Brewing.
Really?
Yeah, and that's what it's exclusively their beers. So that's funny. That's right.
That's fantastic. Go them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
But as far as HHN 33, that's really our news for it and all the houses and things that you can do. Really fun event. Really good immersive stuff happening there. So, you got any news for me?
Yeah, check that out. Going back over to our... normally we were like, we're going to go over to Universal now after we've been talking about Disney for 40 minutes. Talking about Disney, it looks like yesterday, if you were in the parks on Saturday, the 7th, Magic Kingdom, I don't know what was going on, but there was a ton of ride closures. It looked like there were like 6 like major rides all down. Like anything with a mountain was down. Anything with a mountain theme in it was down. Like Peter Pan's Flight was down.
Yikes.
Everything, Tiana's Bayou was up, but there was a ton of stuff down. So that's like a good or bad thing because you get, if you're using the lightning lanes, you kind of get like rain checks to use whenever you want, and you could kind of then go on a ride when it reopens because the line itself isn't long because people are doing other things or left. I don't know, but also it like kind of messes up your plan if you had plans, you had times, but like everything. Pirates of the Caribbean was closed for a long time, and
that stinks.
It does stink. I agree with you. There wasn't too much else going on in the Disneyverse.
That's good. It's September. They've got sold out Mickey's Not So Scary. We've got Tron that's going to begin to move over to a standby lane, which is exciting.
Yeah, that's a big change. So there's only going to be one, or there's technically 2 virtual queues. We're still expecting Tiana's Bayou to switch over at some point. They said that it will. But it looks like Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be the one standalone virtual queue.
Yes. So
for the time being, but that's also don't really know when the next new ride is going to open.
Right. We really don't have one forecasted for quite some time.
Yeah.
Like we do have some like that are potentially
like they're going to be working on it.
Yeah. Like, brainstormed into reality.
Like 25 through 27 is going to be busy, but we don't know when the next new ride is going to be.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's about it. That's our scary goodness.
I know. But we hope that you are feeling a change in the weather where you live and that you're having a phenomenal weekend and you'll have a great week.
This has been a Family Travel Planner production.